He said he didn't, but he's heard stories. We asked him which stories, and he said there was some sort of, quote, undisclosed incident that occurred the weekend he'd inexplicably left. We asked him to explain, and he said he would later. That Friday, practice was cancelled due to the rain, and we knew that was our chance. Gary sat us down in his office and told us what he'd heard from the others. "Here's all that I've heard," he began. Apparently, he was sent to the math wing to investigate a door that had opened there. They obviously thought someone was attempting to enter the school, so Mr. K decided to go check it out. About 5 minutes later, Mr. K responded and said that the door was shut and that there wasn't a sign of any entry, despite the fact that the door had been opened. Anyways, they'd gone back to work. "So, did someone break in?" I asked him. He shook his head. "Not that anyone found." Later, at like 2 in the morning, they heard a sound coming from the social studies wing, and one of the custodians went to investigate. He came back saying that one of the lockers had been left open, and the sound was it slamming against the other lockers. There was nothing inside of it, and again, they went back to work, eager to finish the job. It had been an extremely long night. "I thought he said it would take 5 hours, Sean, another friend of mine, said. "It was taking longer than that. They usually have a few beers and stuff like that on the late shifts, listen to music, etc. But what happened next was the undisclosed incident. Now, for some context, during the late shifts, dim lights are turned on in each hallway, and they barely illuminate the hallways. So, one of the other custodians, John, saw the dim lights suddenly turn off in the math wing. So, he went to investigate it. He turned them back on, and the whole wing's lights flashed on, and then they suddenly turned off. Apparently, the whole school's lights turned off soon after. It took them 30 minutes to get the lights back on, but by the time they did, Mr. K couldn't be found. They stayed until 5 in the morning on Saturday trying to find him, but they never did. All they could find was his gear and his mop in one of the bathrooms in the English hallway. "He disappeared?" Morgan asked. "How is that possible?" "Why would they keep it from us?" I asked. "That's what I heard," Gary said. "I also heard that he'd walked out of the school. Maybe he had some sort of mental breakdown. I don't know. All that was told to us was that he left and was transferred." "So, they did find him?"
Yeah?
I asked. Gary shrugged. "I don't know, but I'll tell you this. You're never really alone in this school." A chill went down my spine. We soon left after that, and Gary told us that he had the late shift that weekend, and he would tell us if he saw anything. On Monday, Gary was replaced by Stanley, a new custodian. We asked the same questions, and Gary had been transferred. My friends and I decided we'd had enough, so we talked to the principal and told him about the patterns we'd been noticing, and he responded with the most chilling answer. "The only thing I can tell you is that they've been taken care of." Over the next months, 2 others had been mysteriously transferred, and all of them had been working the weekend shift. The school has seemed so intimidating ever since Mr. K had gone missing, and there has been no media coverage at all.
What?
Custodians were leaving left and right, and the school began struggling with the low custodian staff. The end of the school year was last month, and I went and interviewed one of the custodians who left.
Got some great
Here's
stuff
what he had to say.
if you're interested.
Why did
I've
you
got a
leave?
Right.
I
Something for
asked to begin.
everyone.
Because you're never really alone in that school, he said. The things I've heard about what goes on, the things I've seen. What have you seen? I asked. I've seen hell, he responded. He wanted to end the interview soon after that. He said he already had plans to move away to a different state. Not a new town or county, a whole state. I wish the story ended there, but it doesn't. I really wish it did. It was 2 weeks into the summer when Morgan tried to convince me to spend the night at the school. Of course, that would mean breaking into the school since it was locked away, but I declined. Sean and Morgan went anyway, and I slept knowing that I wouldn't be taking part in it. It was 11 o'clock when I heard it. My phone was ringing loudly, and I knew I'd silenced it. I walked over and saw that it was Sean. I was too tired to care, so I declined it. The second I did, I saw the dozens of texts he'd left me. Jake, we got in. Ong, it's so creepy AF. But the last one scared me. We need help. I knew what it meant. It meant that something went wrong. That's what I thought anyway. I called him back immediately, and he answered. What I heard will stick with me for the rest of my life. All I heard was a high-pitched scream. It was so loud and visceral
Hey.
that I knew it was a scream of terror.
Protection from Commonwealth
It went
weaponry.
on for about 30
And here I
seconds
thought you wanted
before
to snuggle.
everything just went silent. I yelled Sean's name, and tears began to well in my eyes. He simply said, before hanging up, "We found Mr. K." I tried calling him 5 other times before I called the police. They interviewed me, and 3 days later, they found the bodies. First, they found Gary's.
Everything I got will
He was
keep
found in
you
the ceiling
safe.
with his eyes gouged out.
I'll take a look.
Cause
Sure.
of death,
Don't forget to
suffocation.
stock up on ammo.
Then they found Sean's body a few hours later. They said he died of blood loss. His limbs were missing. Then they found Morgan. Part of her was found in the library. The other parts were found in Sean's stomach. Gary had been dead for months. Sean for a day or two. They never found Mr. K's body. And it was also revealed his family had gone missing soon after his disappearance. They were looking for him all across the state and the county. The 2 other custodians that went missing were found in the theatre. They had eaten each other. As of right now, the school is being torn down in a week, and they'll begin rebuilding a new one. We'll be doing online work until then. The murders themselves weren't what drove me to record this. It was actually what was delivered to me yesterday. It was from the police, and they said they'd found a letter addressed to me in the bathroom of the school. It was written by Morgan. It said, "Dear Jake,
Yeah?
I'll never see you again.
Is Mayor
I know
McDonald
that
telling
now.
the truth? What does he have to
Everyone
hide?
was right.
Read the public for the hard
We
questions.
aren't alone in this school. Ever. I need you to move away far from here and never come back. What's in this school will stay here, no matter what happens. And I think the principal knows it too. Thanks for being a great friend." I hear him now. Mr. K is looking for us. They found Mr. K's body this morning. He was found in a locker in the math hallway. He died of starvation 2 months ago. We'd all noticed a strange stench overtaking the math hallway in the final days of school, but they simply Febrezed the hallway, thinking it was a bad smell from the bathroom. The police began to suspect that he'd gotten stuck in the locker and was unable to move, and was maybe unconscious so he couldn't talk. They've also said he must have been in that locker for 8 days before death, and we all walked right past him, never knowing our dear friend was in that locker. The most terrifying part? It was the locker right next to mine. I only imagine that if he was alive in there, he was begging for me to find him. And I never did.